Relationships, Melissa Andrews, Cornerstone University. During my presentation, I'll talk about society's perspective yesterday and today on relationships, relationships and personal wellness, issues that surround relationships, and what God says about relationships. When we think of relationships, we tend to think of two people in love. In today's world, television and movies often set what the ideal relationship is, which can alter the way we see our real-life relationships. We see the perfect man and the perfect woman in their perfect relationship. We all know there is not such a thing as a perfect relationship. Relationships take work, and sometimes they are messy. There was a time when society only accepted couples who were made up of a man and a woman of the same ethnic background. Although some people still have their own perspective of who we should love, the overall view of society is beginning to change. It is not uncommon today for us to see a couple from a different ethnic backgrounds or even a same-gender couple. Another place we see relationships beginning to change is in the workplace. It used to be the hierarchy of management to employee was strictly autocratic. But in today's workplace, we see a shift in culture, and management teams are welcoming and even challenging people to think critically about processes. Companies are beginning to find the value, the feedback their frontline workers provide to them. When we have good relationships, we tend to feel better than when our relationships are not going so well. According to an article published by the University of Minnesota, How Relationships Affect Health and Well-Being, healthy relationships can improve our overall well-being and reduce our stress levels. Now, on the other hand, unhealthy relationships can negatively impact our health and well-being. People who have deficient relationships are more likely to suffer from things like depression or even a weakened immune system. Humans are social beings. When we have healthy relationships, it makes us happier, and happier people are healthier people. Now, I would like to talk about some issues that surround relationships, and my first one is domestic violence. Domestic violence often occurs when people are in bad relationships. Here are some statistics that I found from a website called domesticviolence.org. In the U.S. alone, every 9 seconds a woman is assaulted or beaten. Women are more often injured each year from domestic violence than the combination of muggings, rapes, and car accidents. More than 3 women are murdered each day by their significant other. Collectively, women lose more than 8 million days of work each year. The cost of domestic violence is more than $5.8 billion per year. Now, $4.1 billion of that is for health care alone. The other $1.8 billion is from missing work and productivity losses. And the last one, which really hit home, is boys who witness domestic violence are twice as likely to abuse their wives than the boys who do not witness it. It's pretty sad. Now, on a lighter note, I'd like to talk about workplace conflict. If you work outside the home, more than likely you've experienced some sort of workplace conflict in your work lifetime. I know I have. One of the most common issues in the workplace is conflict. Poor relationships and conflict between coworkers can decrease productivity and make it uncomfortable for everyone, including the people not involved in the conflict itself. Some ways that it can be combated, though, are with management assistance, and others are within the people involved in the conflict. Management can encourage team members to treat each other with kindness, maybe by reminding them that they spend more time with their coworkers than they do with their families each week. discouraging lobbying in the workplace, by keeping home and work life separate. That works for everybody. Management should lead by example and encourage the team to discuss their issues in a professional manner. Gaining emotional intelligence and learning to control your emotions is one thing you can do as an individual to help combat conflict at work. Let things roll off your back and let it go. And the thing that my mom always strived for me to do is think before I speak. It gives you an opportunity to prepare how you're going to react. You might not be able to control the actions of others, but what you can control is how you react. And sometimes that makes all the difference. What does God say about relationships? In Mark 12:30, it says, "And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength." That tells us we should love God first. Now, in John 13:34 and 35, it says, "A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." What that says, we should love everyone else. When we do those two things, everything else just falls into place.